Everyone, welcome back to another video. So we're going to do part 2 of sorting this JCB out. Part 1, I got the front end line barred and some new bushes put in. Now in part 2, we're going to line bar the headstock and then get it all put back together. Right, so we'll do this top one first because that should be quite straightforward. Yeah, this one's going to be a bit more difficult because of how close it is to everything else and the fact that it's got a hole through it, and that hole in the bottom there is tapped, is threaded for the bolt to go into. So when I weld that up, I'm somehow going to have to avoid that hole so I don't get any weld into the thread or damage the thread. But I'll worry about that when I come to it. So I'll get this top one set up first. The thing with line barring is it's difficult to know how much to film, because once you've seen like the first couple of minutes of it, you've seen it all. But that's that tacked on. The worst thing about line barring is getting everything set up. Anyway, we've got them welded on there. I've got that bearing in the middle just for an extra bit of support because it's quite away from there to there. So I'll put a tool in there, I'll cut that one back that way, and I'll cut that one that way. I'll have to set that bearing off again actually when I bar weld it because it'll be in the way. But yeah, when I cut it back to size, then I can get in there nice and easy to measure rather than trying to reach in there to measure it. Still can't believe how quiet it is. Right, that's that one done as well. So rather than take this off, the bar back through that way to take it out to like 44, 45 mil, and then I can just take that bearing off, and the welding torch will fit through it then, rather than have to take it off. And then for next time, it's barred out the right size as well. That should be barred through now, so the welding torch should fit through that. So I'll whip this bar out, put the welding torch in, weld these round. Right, that's that run done. I think I'm just going to put another run over the top of that because I don't want to set up for line boring again and realise there's not enough weld there. So yeah, I'll just go through again with another pass. I can't go any faster because that's just, I've got to set the bar size at 40 mil, bar diameter. I want it focus at 40 mil, and it won't go any smaller than that. I haven't fiddled with my weld settings because it's doing a good job. So if I could have gone slower, I could have put more weld in there, but say I can't go any slower. Right, so I was doing the second pass. I've got as much as I can in there, but now the torch there is touching on this bit and it's like direct shorting across. It's supposed to have a bit of like insulated stuff on there, but when I bent it to shape I didn't put it back on again. And yeah, it's just catching that collar. So I'll have to make that do for welding there. Hopefully there was enough for the first pass. The second pass was just to guarantee there was definitely going to be enough. I might have to hand weld a bit round the end, just where it doesn't quite, because of the angle it's pointing at, it doesn't quite get all the way to the end. So, don't know if I'll be able to reach in there or not. But anyway, I'll take that torch out now and you've done as much as I can with that. So I filled a bit in there at the end, but it's not very easy. Can't really get in. Anyway, I'll let that cool down and then put the bar back in. See what that looks like. So I've done the first big cut through there, and then I've done a little cut, like half of what I need taken out altogether, and now I'm going to do the last final cut through. So that'll be 3 cuts in total to get it back to size. So that's that cut through to final size. So I'll change the tool over onto that one, and we'll face that side off. And face that side off, and then put a bit of a chamfer on them, and then that was that one done. Same again on this side now. Right, so I've done the same with that one now. That's cut to the size we need it to be. So take everything off now. And we've got this one to work out how to do this one. Right, so that's the bearings taken off. That's what that bar looks like. And that's what that bar looks like. That one's a little bit rougher. I still need to drill them out for the bolt to go through. And there's enough weld anyway. I was worried there wasn't going to be enough weld, but there is. So that's good. And the pin fits nice and tight through there. And then into there. It's a little bit tighter at this side, but I think that'll knock in. So that's good. So this one's going to take a bit more doing because, well, the bearings are too big to fit on there, so this bearing is going to have to be off the end somewhere. And I'm going to have to use, well, probably some of them bearings to mount onto here. And then this one is also drilled and tapped through there, so that's going to make that more difficult when I try and bore weld it back up again. Okay, we'll get the bar set up first. I think I'll have to use the 35mm bar with these centering cones to get this lined up. Right, so I've got them bearings on there, so I'm thinking now if I make some plates to bolt them bearings to weld onto here, and then maybe something across there, same on this side, that'll support that. And then I need to make a plate on this end to weld onto the side of here, and I can use the S-Power bearing mounts with the legs like what I had on here, but welded onto this plate. And then I've got plenty of spare bar, so the bar can go that way a lot. And then the S-Power can be mounted on the end here. These bearings are spot in the middle. And then when I want to bar weld it, I can take this bearing off, put the bar welder in, weld them up, put that bearing back in again, and then bar it back through. And when I cut these plates out for the bearings to go on, one bolt hole can be drilled all the way through, and that one I'll drill it and tap it, and that'll hold the bearing on. And then I just need to draw a plate for the other end, but I'll do that once I've got these bearings mounted. A 10mm plate over there that I can use, so I'll stick that on here and get 2 of them cut out. Right, that's them cut out, so I just centre mark them with a plasma, so we'll drill them through now at 10.5 and then tap them out to M12, and then that should line up with there like that. Right, so I've got that mounted on there now. That should do that. But the issue I've got now is the bar is not long enough. I haven't got enough spare bar here to mount that onto. Even if this was right up onto there still wasn't going to be enough spare bar for it to work out where the holes I need to. So I've got a bit spare there, but not enough. It doesn't work out where the holes are and where I need to be machining through, boring through. I have some 35mm bright round. It's only EN8 I think, but I'll be able to use that to make a longer bar. It's like induction hardened chrome rod, but so I haven't got any of that. I've only got bright round. That there is a bit of 35mm. So I'll lift that off and then I'll put it on the mill and then I'll drill some holes in it. 14mm holes for the tool and then a M6 grub screw. Yeah, if I use that, drill some holes in that, and I've got loads of spare then at this end. Don't need all that. So I'll slide that out, get that set up on the Huron, and then, yeah, make it into a boring bar. Right, so I've got all them 14mm holes drilled now. So I'll turn the bar 90 degrees and then we'll drill, I think I maybe said 6mm grub screws earlier, but I think they're 8mm grub screws to hold the tool in. When I set it up, I put that at the end so I can put it up again that, so I know that the grub screw holes are going to be in the same place as my tool holes. How many have I drilled? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. 11 holes, 100mm apart. Right, so I've got all them drilled and tapped now. So I used, like, it's an old mag drill cutter with a pin to centralise the tap into the hole, so make sure I was tapping them square. But yeah, so I'll take that off here now, and then I'll probably just put it on the pillar drill and just take the burrs off everything, and then that's ready to use. Right, so we've got that bar in there now. We've got the S-power mounted on the end. That's all set up ready to go. I've got the tool in there. So that just wants setting up yet. But what I'm thinking with these, rather than boring them, well, my bar welder is not going to be long enough to reach from there all the way through, I don't think. So I'm thinking I might just bar them out and sleeve them rather than trying to bar weld them up, especially when that one is drilled and then drilled and tapped at the other side. That's going to make that awkward. So I might bar them out to like 60 mil, something like that, and then make a sleeve, and then either weld the sleeve in, yeah, probably weld it in, and then that might be easier. As you look at the length of the bar welder, it might be long enough to do that one, but it won't be long enough to reach to that one. Right, so I've got them cleaned out, they're like 53 mil now, so I've decided I am going to try and weld them up and then bar them back through to size rather than sleeve them. I think it'd be quicker. So I'll take that tool out now, I'll take this bar out, and then I'll probably have to set another one of them bearings up on this side so I can reach to weld this one up. I'm hoping, as it is now, I can manage to reach this one from that side. I don't know whether to fill that thread in at the bottom with weld and then weld over it and then re-drill it and tap it afterwards. So my welding torch is going to be long enough to reach to this one, and then I'll just have to mount another bearing on this end when I do this one, but that's not a problem. So I've just been thinking about the best way to sort of save them threads, or to, well, not end up with a big problem trying to re-drill the threads out or re-thread them. So I think what I'm going to do is I've cut this bit of thread off the end of a bolt, and I'm going to wind that in a little bit, just enough so it's sort of into the threads, and then I'm going to weld over the top of it, bar it back out to size, and then it's pretty deep is that thread, it's like there all the way down to the bottom, and then I can re-drill back through this hole and then re-drill into that hole and like drill through the weld and sort of drill into that, and then hopefully I can either drill all the way through that and the threads will be underneath, or I can extract that bit somehow, drill into it and use a thread thread remover, can't think what you call them. That's my plan anyway. I was thinking I could fill the hole completely with weld and re-drill it and tap it, but then I'd need a really long tap to reach all the way through. So I think that's going to be my best option. Turn that in and get my welding torch set up, and then we'll bar weld that one back up. Right, so I've got the whole thing transferred onto this side now. It's a bit of a, it's not ideal setup, but these are offset. Right, it's not the same distance from here to here as it is from there to there. So them ones, that bearing, I could stand it off that side. You know, this one had to be closer, so I've just sort of tapped them bits of box on there. All it needs to do is really support the weight of it, because all I'm doing is welding. I'm not actually barring from this side. When I bar it back out again, I'll move it back onto that side. But that will be strong enough just to weld this up. So that's that one welded up as well. I think I'll just have to do a little bit of a run there by hand. It's just not quite started near enough at the end. But that should be enough welding there, hopefully. And same with that one. Right, so I've done the first big cut, the second little cut, and now I've got a third final cut to do. So I'll move the tool on a little bit. I've got 1/2 mil to take out. Right, so I've got that one done as well now. I didn't record that because it was basically the same process as this one. Then I've sort of faced them off and put a bit of a chamfer on them. The reason it touches more at one side than it does at the other. The plates must not be bang on square. Anyway, that's that done. So I need to drill through here now. Drill through there, get that weld out of there, and then drill into the bottom side and hopefully get rid of that plug that I've put in. Right, so I've got drilled through that now. It didn't quite drill out in the middle for some reason. The 14, that's a 14mm hole, and the 14mm drill that I went through it with is a nice tight fit through there, so couldn't really wander off. But when it's got through to the bottom, it wasn't quite in line. So I drilled so far into it, and then I went through with a 10, and you can see it's not quite in line where the hole I've drilled. But I've got broken through that like bung that I put in there, and then when I put a bolt in, it does thread into it, so that should be all right. So that should be them done. That one might be a little bit tight when I measure it with the verniers, so I might have to just sand that one out with a sanding wheel. That one's all right, I think. That pin where I was showing you the measurements, it was maybe in part 1 when I was showing you the measurements, this pin is 49.85, where that one's 49.9, so try to do these to 49.9, so the pin is real tight fit in there, hopefully. That's a new pin. See, I can't put it in at the moment because the bearings are in the way. So I can take all these off now because that's done. Take the line bar off, take that end off. Yeah, and that should be the headstock done. Right, so that pin, I've got everything chopped off now, everything's taken off. Because that pin is quite tight in there, I can just to say twist it with both hands, but it'd be a nice tight hammer fit with that one. It's the same in this side. It's a little bit looser in this side. Still a lot tighter than what it would have been when it was new. So yeah, pleased with that. So I don't want them to be loose because when they're banging backwards and forwards, any movement in the pin just accelerates the wear, so try and make them as tight as I can, but still go in and out. It is about the same as this one, it's still nice tight fit as that. So yeah, that'll do for the headstock, apart from once these bits painting good clearing off yet. Right, so next job, we need to sort this bit out. So this is a link that goes from the headstock to them, and yeah, I think them holes are oval now, that's why the bushes are breaking out. When you measure across there, it measures like 60.5 or 60.4ish does when you measure it properly. So that's why the bushes are breaking, same as that one. But you can see on that end, quite a lot of that has got worn away. And there's no place, there's supposed to be sealing there as well. There's no place for that to go anymore. You can get new ones of these, but I think it was £464 for a new one, which I thought I can spend a fair bit of time sorting this one out before I get to the price of a new one. But this end is not so badly bruised up. This end is, so I'll have to try and get rid of them bits first and then weld round the inside of the bushes again and then try and get the bushes out. Hopefully it's a metal that I can weld and machine back down again without it going hard, because it's like cast. them bushes out of there now. So there's bushes, and then there was like a ring in the middle to space the bushes apart, which they'll go back in again. That one wants cleaning up a bit, but that one's all right. So yeah, you can see in there just how chewed that up is. So what I'll do first is I'll grind a bit off and I'll put a bit of weld on, make sure doesn't go hard, and then I know that I can weld it up and machine it back out again. Yeah, so I've just welded a bit on there, and it just really blunted my centre punch, and the hacksaw blade won't even touch it, so I think that's going to be too hard. So I've just been on the internet and I've actually found one of these for a brand new one for £231 rather than £464 like JCB wanted. So I've ordered one of them. So yeah, I just don't think there's enough. Well, it's going to be too difficult machining it when the weld's hard, and there's not going to be enough around there to sleeve it with anything. And yeah, for the price of a new one at 231 quid, it's not worth me trying to sort this one out, I don't think. So yeah, just got to wait for that new one to come now. As I can get them bushes pressed into there, get them sorted, put them into the machine, and then I suppose the headstock can go back on. It's just need to wait for this bit. So I've got some new bushes to go in the end of the ram as well, and I think that pin was also slack, so I might have that one to line bar as well, which shouldn't take much doing. Just that through to there. So yeah, I need to get that ram out now, which looks a big heavy lump. So I don't know the best way to get it out really. I'll pull the ram all the way in so I'm not at risk of damaging the rod, and then I'll lower that down onto the ground somewhere, and then disconnect the pipes and knock the pin out. So I'm just looking now, that's the main lift ram, and then I think that ram there is like your parallel lift, so it transfers oil from there into that ram, so when you're picking your arm up, your bucket sort of stays parallel with the ground, but when you move it up and down, you can see how much slack that pin there has in there. When you look underneath, you can see the ram move as well. You can see. So yeah, that's not very good, but that's not really what it's come in for. Okay, we'll knock this pin out now and get this ram out. I've left the ram out, and then I can knock that pin out, it'll drop onto there, and then I can lower it down under its own weight, under its own power. So that's the new pin in there, so yeah, I think I'll have to line bar that as well. Right, so we're all set up on here now, ready to line bar that one through. I'll maybe just time lapse this one because you've already seen me do plenty of line barring already in this video. So yeah, I'll just quickly get on and get this done and then it's sorted. Right, so that's this side, well, this top on line barred through as well now. We're all packed away, done, and then that pin is a nice tight fit in there. It's a lot tighter than it was. So that should knock in, like a soft knock in with a hammer. So yeah, that is all that sorted now. The headstock sorted as well. Then this new one of these arrived this morning. I'm quite surprised how fast that came. I only ordered it at like 3 o'clock yesterday afternoon. That's here. So there's some bushes to press into there. New bushes. Well, there's 2 of them. For some reason, I thought I'd ordered enough, but I haven't obviously ordered enough. So there's 2 to go in that end. And then I've got some more of these type of bushes to go in the other end. And then also 4 of them to go into the ram, 2 in either end. Yeah, so the ram has got the same type of bushes in there as what it has in there, which will do for them other type of bushes that I've got. It looks like a heavy lump, does that ram, so whether I can change the bushes there or whether I need to probably have to take the pipes off and put it on my bench and knock them out because they'll be quite tight. But anyway, we'll get them bushes put into there and then get them bushes put into there as well. Right, that's all them bushes pressed in there then, and the seals in them. They don't have seals, they're just the bush pressed in. So they all fit in there now. That would do, seals stopping me push the pin in. So yeah, that's all sorted. Apart from I'm not too happy with how loose they are, but that's how JCB intended it to be. That's just how it's going to have to be. Another reason why I got new ones of them as well is because them bolts are snapped off. Like the bolt goes through there and it's threaded into there and they're snapped off in there, so that would have been a bit of a nightmare trying to get them out. That one's not actually snapped off. Well, that one has. And that one hasn't. So anyway, they're worn out, so for the price of them, might as well just put new ones on. Yeah, I think I'll take this ram off now. When I undo these hoses, all the oil out of these steel pipes is going to run down and run out, so I'll have to put some bungs in the end. So that's the ram off. I might give it a quick wash off first before I start trying to take the bushes out. Right, I've got a nice clean ram to work on now. So yeah, I'm going to try knocking these out just as they are first, and if they're fairly tight then I'll run a weld around them to shrink them, but there's a good gap I can get in to like get in at the punch and punch them out with. So see how we get on. I don't look, like, I can see the worn, so I might as well change them while I'm doing everything else. Right, so that's new bushes in as well. New bushes, new seals. So I was using a hollow jack, but I could do with making some proper, like proper things for pulling the bushes in, because they end up going in like skew width. So I put one in with the jack, but then with these ones I found it easier just to knock them in sort of halfway with a copper hammer, and then pull them the rest of the way in with the jack. And bent me bit of threaded bar as well. So this ram can go back in now, so it might be tricky doing it by myself, but I think I'll lay it down where it was, connect the pipes back up again, and sort of stand it up, and then push it out to slot it back up inside where it needs to be, I think. It's a shame that slot in the top isn't any wider, because I could have nearly put a strap through there and then lifted it up through there. We do have these real thin straps. I might be able to do it with them actually. That'll go through there. And then choke it round the ram and maybe lift it up with that. As long as I can get it off again. Right, so that's that pin back in. That was a nice, like hammer fit, nice tight fit all the way through. Not too tight. So yeah, that's the ram back in. Should be a lot tighter than what it was when it was new as well. They won't be that tight when they were brand new. So I think next up we'll put, I don't know what to put in next. Probably them plates that go in there, and then we'll put the link. I'll put the ram into them plates, and then the link on, and then headstock back on. Right, so I've just got that link put in, but I'm not particularly happy with that. You can see how much the pin moves in there. Now it's no wonder that bolt snaps off, because the pin is moving backwards and forwards in there. And that's just going to accelerate any wear in that. But yeah, that's ready for the headstock back on now. Right, so that is that back on now. So that bolt was a little bit awkward to get back in because it wasn't quite lining up, but I've got it in now. Pipes are all connected back up for the locking pins. So yeah, that is it back on. I need a bit of a grease, but I'll take the forklift out of the way and then move it through its motions and give it a bit more of a grease, and then that'll do. So I'll just put the bit of wood in again and show you how much slack it has now compared to what it did have when it came in. Yeah, so that's a lot better. That should be back to like how it was when it was new now. And then that's all the parts we've replaced. So what is there? 6 pins, 2 of them, 1 of them, and then I think there was 12 bushes altogether. Some of them are not there, but some of them are broken. But yeah, I think there was 12. I just wanted to say thanks to Larry as well from Pennsylvania, who has sent me this lock and lube like set. So there's sent me that, which I need to get a better grease gun first. I could have used it to grease this up, but there's no point putting it on that old grease gun. And then he sent me all these different adapters for different things as well. So yeah, thanks to Larry for that from the USA. That'll be very useful when I get a decent grease gun. So that's all for this week. Hope you enjoyed the video. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.